When you got a president whose mental and physical decline is being documented almost hourly with bruising and foot dragging and speech problems and an obvious mental decline, do you think this is a good time to tell the world that you're building a secret, top secret medical and hospital facility below the White House? I don't know. We've had a couple of 100 years, 250 years of presidents. We never seem to need a hospital underneath one. And there goes the top secret part because it's been disclosed in a new filing related to the ballroom by the National Park Service. I'm Michael Popok. You're on the MeidasTouch Network and Legal AF. A couple of days ago, Donald Trump called a lid on his day about 12 hours early, and everybody was speculating, oh, another medical problem. You know, we're seeing some weird, really weird, what's the word I'm looking for, shit coming out of the presidency. You know, when you threaten your adversary in an ongoing war that they need to effing, and he spelled it out, open the Strait of Hormuz, immediately, you know, he's losing it. Okay, so when he called lid on his day 12 hours early, everybody was looking over at Walter Reed Hospital to see maybe he's over there. Now Donald Trump has decided, I got an idea. Let's sneak a hospital under the White House, under the ballroom, away from the prying eyes of the press and the public. That'll do it, right? No. So let me introduce you to Exhibit A that maybe not only Donald Trump is mentally unstable, but his Department of Justice and lawyers around him are too. Because here's what they just filed to try to beg the appellate court that is responsible for the federal courts in D.C., what they told them in their filing. Here we go. And I'm not making this up. This is a direct read. If you don't believe me, you can pick it up in Legal AF Substack under Filings AF. Okay, here we go. Likewise, the bomb shelters, hospital and medical area, protective partitioning, and top secret military installations, each word capitalized, are built and are ready to be built, installed, and in place under the ballroom. We're ready to go, appellate court. Give us a stay and let us take it ultimately to the United States Supreme Court. Well, let's break it down a little bit. Top secret military installation, and then listing all of the components of it. Not so top secret anymore. I think we can now take off top secret because you and I are talking about it because of a filing. But I really focused in on hospital and medical area. Now, underneath the White House has always been something called the POC, the Presidential Emergency Operations Center. And that Situation Room is sort of part of it. It's really like, think of it like a panic room for a couple of days should something go awry. Okay, it's not where you go ultimately. There's a couple of mountain layers that the Defense Department and the civil governors and agencies and their operations would go. But under the White House, they gave them the POC. Now, Trump apparently is building underneath the ballroom. He's upgrading his emergency planning. Okay, that's legit. Last time the POC was done was in 1952. Things have changed. And I get if you got a giant hole that you've now excavated next to the White House, you might want to take that opportunity to kind of improve things. In fact, Donald Trump's gone further. Donald Trump has said that it's not the ballroom that he's really concerned about, even though he brags about the 90,000 square feet. Every president has always wanted it. It's gold. It's a golden testament to his presidency. But recently on Air Force One, he said it was merely a shed. Just a shed, like you go to Home Depot and you pick up a Rubbermaid garden shed for your backyard. Just a shed to put over a giant hole containing top secret military installation. Let's play the clip.
Now the military is building a big complex under the ballroom, which has come out recently because of a stupid lawsuit that was filed. But the military is building a massive complex under the ballroom. And that's under construction, and we're doing very well. So we're ahead of schedule. It's part of it. The ballroom essentially becomes a shed for what's being built under the military, including from drones and including from any other thing. The glass on the windows, you see the big windows, the glass is extremely thick. It's high-grade bulletproof glass. So all of the windows are bulletproof. I think the Times wrote, gee, some of the windows are fake. We have no fake windows. Here's another one. Wait, excuse me, wait. I thought I'd do this now because it's easier. I'm so busy that I don't have time to do this. But I'm fighting wars and other things. But this is very important because this is going to be with us for a long time, and it's going to be, I think it'll be the greatest ballroom anywhere in the world. It's its highest level.
Now let's go back to the hospital, shall we? I'm glad you're here, by the way. Hit the subscribe button on MeidasTouch. Try to do the same thing on Legal AF YouTube as well. All right. So Trump, from the very beginning of his administration, has decided that he's just going to use the magic pixie dust of repeating over and over again, national security, national security. Everything, we're at war, everything's an emergency, everything's national security, right? Because he figured out that under the Constitution and under this Supreme Court, the more he says that, the more he can expand his presidential powers beyond to their outer limits. And he's looking for the outer limits of everything that he does. And so everything is national security, right? It's not just a ballroom. Ballroom's a shed. It covers an elaborate lair and labyrinth of top secret military installations. But why the hospital? Yeah. I mean, I get he's going to be, late 80s by the time he gets done with his term. But shouldn't we know about his mental and physical incapacity? I mean, you've got a president who foot drags, who can't seem to walk a straight line, who can't stick to a script, says weird stuff out loud, seems to be in the throes of dementia. I mean, let's just call it for what it is. I'm not the only one that has said that. So doesn't it concern you that there's now a hospital, or in his words, hospital and medical area being built underneath the White House? So now he can just transit back and forth to there, right? Instead of going to Walter Reed Hospital. So if he's got some sort of medical condition, mental, physical, or otherwise, we wouldn't know about it. I think that's what's really going on here, don't you? Then they repeat, just for, I guess, so our enemies know exactly how they should plan. They repeat the following, not once, but twice. They say, as part of the top secret military installation, there is protective missile-resistant steel columns, beams, drone-proof roofing material, ballistic and blast-proof glass. All are there. They repeat the exact same phrase almost verbatim on the second page, that it's been fortified for security reasons with steel, bullet, ballistic, and blast-proof glass, drone-proof roofing materials. We know that. Time is of the essence with an exclamation mark. Wow. In fact, Donald Trump even revealed most of this during a press conference, which I think once again shows that he's in the beginnings or the middles of some sort of deep psychological problem. Play the clip.
And also, a judge just ordered you to stop construction of the ballroom. Are you planning to stop?
Well, we'll appeal that, but it's not, I don't know, it's basically, I wrote a part of his opinion, but basically he's saying I need congressional approval. And he's so wrong. This is being financed privately. It's a donation that's being given by companies, very rich people, so that for 150 years they've wanted a ballroom here. We're going to have the finest ballroom, I believe, anywhere in the world. And he said, we need congressional approval. Well, they don't get congressional approval from the White House. When they do things, they don't, especially when we didn't ask for any tax money. We have no tax. This is taxpayer free. We have no taxpayer putting up 10 cents. And I see right here, I just wrote it out. He said, we need congressional approval. Well, we built many things at the White House over the years. They don't get congressional approval when they build in the White House. It's totally separate. And especially when it's a donation. I mean, the ballroom is a donation.
We love our cat Chanel, but for the longest time, we were dealing with, well, the classic scarf and barf situation. She'd eat too fast, throw up, and I just thought, well, that's normal. Turns out, well, it's not. Then I switched Chanel to Smalls, and the difference was immediate. Smalls fresh cat food is protein-packed recipes made with preservative-free, 100% human-grade ingredients you'd find in your fridge, and it's delivered right to your door. Since switching, I've noticed better digestion, more energy, and her coat is softer and shinier. Even the litter box is, well, less gross because more of the nutrients are actually digestible, so less junk comes out the other end. Cats use protein as their main energy source. So more protein means more sustained energy, and you can really see it. And there's real proof. Forbes ranks Smalls the best overall cat food. BuzzFeed, it said, my cats went completely ballistic for this stuff. And after switching, 88% of cat owners reported overall health improvements. So stop serving your little carnivore a bowl of processed shortcuts for a limited time because you're a Legal AF listener. Get 60% off your first order, plus free shipping and free treats for life when you head to smalls.com/legalaf. That's 60% off your first order, plus free shipping and free treats for life when you head to smalls.com/legalaf. Lots of exclamation marks in this filing. I don't know if they're just trolling Judge Leon, a Bush appointee who blocked the ballroom because he used 18 exclamation marks and a couple of eye-rolling please in his order. Maybe it's just not something I think the federal appellate court is going to be used to seeing in terms of tone or tenor or decorum or anything like that. Now, what could happen next? So what they've asked for is that Judge Leon, which they almost ignore, gave 14 days for them to seek a stay from the appellate court. So right on time, they're seeking a stay from the appellate court. They're asking the appellate court to issue the stay, or at the very least issue it for 14 extra days so that they have time to run to the United States Supreme Court. So they're going to lob this hand grenade into the Supreme Court, who would love to leave on summer vacation, about whether the president has the right, without congressional approval, if he takes private money, to tear down and rebuild the White House. That's their argument. There's no other way to put it. You know, they say everything that happens at the White House, the current occupant of the White House has the right to remodel, rebuild, reconstruct. That's just not true. It's not true under the statutes. It's not true under historical precedent. It's not true under prior Trump administration. They replaced a fence once in 2019. Took them 9 months and they got congressional approval. So maybe a 90,000 square foot shed over a major top secret military installation, including a hospital and medical area. Maybe you got to go to Congress for that. What do you think? We'll see what the Supreme Court says about it. I'd read to you from it, but there's really not much more of their argument. I mean, their major argument is that the National Trust, which is the congressionally created entity that's the plaintiff, doesn't have standing, doesn't have the ability to bring this lawsuit because it doesn't have real injury. I think they're wrong about that. Somebody has to be able to bring this type of lawsuit. Yeah, I'd love to see Congress rush into court, but we're not going to see Congress versus the president in court proceedings until Congress is turned over to the Democrats at the midterms. So in the meantime, yes, the National Trust representing the people, not just what they say, which is one public critic of the building. No, you mean the public, which is 65 to 70% against what Donald Trump is doing. Now, they say, well, it's so late that Judge Leon issued the injunction. We already did the excavation of the foundation area and made a giant hole. Sometimes I feel like I'm watching Stanley Kubrick's Dr. Strangelove. I mean, I feel like I'm watching George C. Scott as that crazy general. But they're going to see the giant map. The Russians, you can't let them in the Situation Room. They'll see the big map. They made a giant hole. I get it. This is not our problem. And what Judge Leon said is, cover the hole. I get that there's national security issues involved, but I didn't tell you to make the giant hole. In fact, I told you if you're proceeding at your own risk, if you continue with the building, you might have to tear it down. And that's where we are right now. You don't get rewarded because in the middle of the night, you knocked over the East Wing on purpose, demolished it, and started building your ballroom without any approval. And then they go, see, we got to finish. No, there's buildings in New York that have been ordered torn down in New York City because people did exactly the same thing. It's obvious that Donald Trump just wants to try to get away with it and hope that we don't notice. I mean, he's so in love with the ballroom, he already has a model of it, apparently, that he wants to install a replica of it at his new Trump condominium presidential library thing of 50 stories high in Miami. He's really, the shed makes an appearance in the new video about the Trump library. So we're going to cover this all. Next thing you'll hear from me is what the appellate court does about this motion and whether they deny the motion and force Donald Trump to run to the United States Supreme Court. The place he should be running is the place that Judge Leon told him to run, which is to Congress. Go get approval from Congress. There's still time, he said. But you see, Donald Trump can't get any bill passed in Congress. Through feckless Mike Johnson, the Speaker of the House, MAGA, his slim lead in the House, and virtually in the Senate through filibuster. So, he's really stuck. If they don't declare that the president has the power to knock over and rebuild the White House at the court level, he's screwed, So you better cover up that giant hole. I'm Michael Popok. You're here on MeidasTouch. Go over to Legal AF YouTube channel, hit the free subscribe button. Until my next report, this is Michael. Can't get your fill of Legal AF? Me neither. That's why we formed the Legal AF Substack. Every time we mention something in a hot take, whether it's a court filing or a oral argument, come over to the Substack. You'll find the court filing and the oral argument there, including a daily roundup that I do called, wait for it, Morning AF. What else? All the other contributors from Legal AF are there as well. We got some new reporting. We got interviews. We got ad-free versions of the podcast and hot takes. Where? Legal AF on Substack. Come over now to free subscribe.